Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Studio Jake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to like and share this out, and whether you're watching on Rumble or Facebook or YouTube, just give me a subscribe. I would really appreciate it. But also, if you're on YouTube, ring that little bell because YouTube, those pranksters, they love to unsubscribe people from different channels. So do that for me as well. I would really appreciate it. For those of you who are unfamiliar with me, I do film, anime, television, and even book commentary. Occasionally I venture into other topics, but I try to keep it fast and loose. I'm a super casual channel, as you have known. Well, I decided to do something that I've never done before on this channel, and if you like this format, let me know in the comments below and we'll plan something else. But on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook, so those places, I went out and I asked people if they had any questions for me, doing just a random Q&A. And I'll admit, I'm a smaller channel, so I didn't get a whole lot of responses, but I got some really good responses. So I'm going to throw my favorite questions that I got out of this batch because I really enjoyed taking these. These were a lot of fun, and they're going to be fun to answer. So sit back, relax, and welcome to the very first Studio Jake questionnaire. What's a movie you love but the critics hated? I actually love this question because I always want to answer all of them, but that's not true. For instance, the audiences really hated I Care a Lot, and normally I side with the audiences on most films, but I actually sided with the critics. I loved I Care a Lot, and I thought it was a really fun time. You can read my review on my website, StudioJakeMedia.com. But to answer this question specifically, what's a movie that I love that critics hate? So right off the bat, there's a 90s Chuck Norris film called Sidekicks, and it's basically like a Chuck Norris version of Karate Kid. It's about this kid with asthma. He gets bullied a lot, and one of his teachers has her uncle, I believe, teach him the martial arts. And while he's being trained, he sort of fantasizes that Chuck Norris is one of his mentors and it helps him through hard times in your life. It's actually a really great representation of fandom. And the critics, they lambasted it. And I actually love it because it parodies a lot of things about Chuck Norris movies and Chuck Norris television and whatnot. So it's very self-aware. That's why I like it. It has Jonathan Brandis in it, who, we lost too soon. Another one that comes to mind more recently is Hillbilly Elegy. Even critics that I respect hated that film, and I loved it. I thought it was a really good movie about how you can find beauty in the brokenness of people. Now, I don't think it's as good as the book, but I think Ron Howard, who directed the film, he did a good job of bringing the story out in the best way he could. I think it's a really good film. I think it's a wonderful film, and that's another one where the audience agreed with me and not the critics. So, and I think that's fun. So, those are two big ones right there. So, Sidekicks and Hillbilly Elegy. What's your favorite anime?
Come forth, Rage Shield!
My favorite anime right now is The Rising of the Shield Hero. It only has one season right now, but it's by a guy named Naofumi, who he's from our world. He opens up a light novel book from the library, and he gets sucked into this new world. And I actually have the shield. My wife got this for me for a gift. That's his shield. It gets stuck to his arm as he finds out he's one of four heroes who are supposed to save this alternate world, and he gets framed for a crime he didn't commit, and so he has to go on the run, and no one wants to work with him, even though he's one of these four heroes. It's a really fantastic anime, fantastic voice acting. It's one of those two that fake anime fans, like from Anime News Network and Comic Book Resources, hated, but I love it. I think it's a fantastic one. It's my all-time favorite. Love it, and I can't wait for season 2, which is coming, and I'm looking forward to that. Who do you think is the most underrated Batman villain?
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
All right, so this is actually a very unique answer, but there is this character, and I'm looking down because I have my notes, but his name is Rubio Dollar, and I apologize for looking down. I always forget if it's a dollar or dollar or what or something like that. But he is a villain from Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, I believe issue 155 and 156, called Colossus, and he's this guy who he finds out that his grandfather was murdered by some of the elite in Gotham City, and so he takes revenge. He dons kind of this Bane-looking costume, and he goes kind of on this spree, killing people he thinks are responsible for the death of his grandfather. Batman, of course, has to stop him. Fantastic story written by the great comic book writer Mike Baron, who, of course, created Nexus and Badger. I don't know why they didn't invite Mike Baron back to write more Batman stories. It's one of the most unique Batman stories I've read, and it's only in 2 issues, so that just goes to show you the decline of Batman, that they have to give you like these big long arcs, and you go, oh yeah, I guess that was pretty good. But with Mike Baron, he writes 2 issues, and it's fantastic. So, what 3 anime does every conservative need to watch?
Have no fear, students. Because I am here.
Okay, so this was actually pretty easy for me. I say The Rising of the Shield Hero, Attack on Titan, and My Hero Academia. So The Rising of the Shield Hero, just because of what I said earlier, I'm not going to repeat. Attack on Titan, because it's such a brilliant story about maintaining your culture and your society that's being attacked by an enemy that seems impossible to defeat. The Titans, they're basically like the SJWs. They just scoop people up just to gobble them up. They don't. They eat regular humans, and you find out that there's this nefarious force behind them, and these group of army soldiers called scouts. They have to defend this beautiful city where they're hiding. Fantastic, well animated. Both the dub and the original version, the original Japanese. Fantastic voice cast. Don't see the live action movie. I've not watched it. I just watched the trailer, and it looks terrible, and pretty much from what I've heard, it's a terrible movie. But the anime, for sure. My Hero Academia, because it's all about fatherhood. It's about Azuko Midoriya, who gets taken under the wing of this character named All Might, and he's basically like the Japanese Superman. Although I would say he's more like Mr. Incredible from of course, The Incredibles. But Midoriya gets taken under his wing, and Midoriya has no powers, but All Might sees the good in him and passes his power on to him, because All Might's power in his own body is fading, so he has to give it to someone else before it fades completely. I highly recommend it. Every conservative to watch it. Good, strong conservative values in all 3 of those anime. What are 2 ways conservatives can influence comics and anime? First, the first thing is stop ridiculing them. All these highfalutin conservatives who they talk like this, and then they sip the Chardonnay and the martinis with the pinky up. They always love to ridicule comic books. They always love to ridicule anime. But it's stuff that blue-collar people enjoy. It's guys like me. They enjoy these things. Women, like my wife, she loves shows like Sailor Moon and certain kinds of gun. She's not like me. She doesn't like the mechs per se, but she likes seeing those kinds of things. She likes Fairy Tail and Attack on Titan, and I really feel that that's the first thing. And it goes the same way with the comic books. They need to stop ridiculing comic book films. And in fact, I used to work with some conservatives, and we had these debates about comic book films. That's the first thing they need to do. They need to realize that this is part of our culture, and they're not going anywhere. So they need to just get on. I'm not saying they have to like it or get on the bandwagon, but they need to stop ridiculing. The second thing that they can do is fund the projects that they like. You don't have to buy the latest issue of Batman or SpiderMan. There's a lot of great independent comic book writers who are out there who are making comic books. People like Mandy Summers and Ethan Van Sciver and John Malin. There's all these great people who are doing independent things, and that's one way that you can influence that. And the same with anime. If you're a so inclined conservative and you happen to be a closeted anime fan, go buy the DVDs of the anime that you like. Rent them on Amazon. Let the distributors know what you like. What story made you appreciate anime for the first time? Wow, a lot of anime questions. So I would have to say Mobile Fighter G Gundam. Now, I did watch a few anime, but I didn't know they were anime. So like Mega Man and Sonic X and Speed Racer. I didn't know those shows were anime, so I didn't have appreciation for that broader context. But Mobile Fighter G Gundam was the first time someone gave me an anime and said, hey, I think you would like this because you like this, that, and the other. And I was hooked, and I really got into it, and I explored other stuff like Death Note and Attack on Titan and One Punch Man, all the Rising of the Shield Hero. I've mentioned that one several times. Robotech, a lot of people don't realize Robotech is an anime. Whether you like the original Macross version or you like the Harmony Gold Robotech cut, whatever tickles your fancy. Those kinds of shows really influenced me, and like I said, Mobile Fighter G Gundam was the first. What do conservatives misunderstand about the value of anime-style storytelling? So I don't think it's so much that they misunderstand it. It's more like they just don't get it. So in the West, we're kind of stuck on the hero's journey, right? That secular style of storytelling. And there is nothing wrong with it, but it puts you in kind of a rut when you get down to it. For those of you unfamiliar, the hero's journey starts off. The hero is here, then he realizes there's a conflict, and then he encounters enemies. He gathers friends, and then he grows, but he ends up back where he starts. Now I'm summarizing and paraphrasing it awfully because I don't have it right in front of me. But that's the general idea for it. Anime storytelling, it's more about the character building, and so that's how you can start out Goku and Dragon Ball, where he's small, he's short, he's just a kid, but he can still defeat giant monsters and armies of robots as he goes along, and he gets training. He gets defeated by a human named Tien, and then you get, by the end of Dragon Ball, he's strong enough to defeat Tien, and then another enemy that he almost got crushed by, which is of course Piccolo. And then by the time you get to Dragon Ball, the end of Dragon Ball Z, he's fought an alien, he's fought robots, he's fought androids, he's fought blobby alien creatures, and then so where do you go after that? Well, he fights the gods now in his universe, in Universe 7. By the time you get to Dragon Ball Super, so for them it's more about the character himself than the journey he or she is on. And I think that to me is a more unique style of storytelling. Who is your favorite artist?
Today we'd make a scene that's very happy.
Okay, so besides my wife, who is Prism Pixie on Instagram, give her a follow. As far as comic book goes, I would say Jack Kirby, just the way he designed the worlds and how he drew his characters. Amazing, fantastic. Now, if you're actually talking about classical artists, I'm going to have to go. Now, I'm going to have such trouble pronouncing it because it's a very French name. But Theodore Rousseau, I think is how you say it. And he was a French painter in the late 1800s. He did incredible landscapes. And I remember I first saw his paintings like in an art book, and then I actually got to see it in original at the Getty. Fantastic artist, love his stuff. He does forests and sunrises and skies, and just incredible, just impressive. So I would have to say him as far as like classical art. What is your favorite Ronald Reagan quote?
Open this gate.
This one is easy for me. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. What is your favorite Spider-Man story?
We are Venom!
Birth of Venom, hands down. Venom is the best Spider-Man villain. It's not even close. Apologies to Doc Ock and Green Goblin fans. Just not even close. Venom is the best Spidey antagonist, and that story is the best Spider-Man story. What 3 elements does a story require to be a good story? First is character. You need to start with a good character. Even if you want to go with sort of the Western hero's journey, you need to start with who you're dealing with, and then you can worry about the things of where he is. Is this fantasy land? Is this real life? Is it sci-fi? Is it steampunk? But start with the character, and then from there, everything else will spin off. Second is conflict. You need to have your hero or heroine up against something to show them grow, or to develop, or whatever the case may be. The third thing is a good outline. When I was young and stupid, I didn't outline my first two books, and I regret that, because it's, instead of a project that should not have taken me as long as it did. For instance, The Seven Royals, it took me years to write it because I didn't have a good outline. Didn't make that mistake with the second one, and I'm not making that mistake with the third one. So there you go. Character, conflict, and a good outline. Who is the greatest superhero of all time?
Wait, you're not just some guy in a bat costume, are you?
That's easy. Batman.
That is.
Now, this one is a bonus one from an old coworker of mine. Some of you know Kelly. She is the host of You Got It. I've been on her show several times. Her YouTube channel is Warrior Woman 91. Head over there and give her a subscribe. And a lot of people don't realize that she and I actually used to work together. We were office mates, and we were really good friends. We hung out all the time. We're still friends to this day. And this question is from her: Was I your favorite coworker? Sorry, Kelly, but it was Brenda. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned something about me, or just learned something in general. Be sure to like this video, leave me a comment, and subscribe. All the stuff I said before. All my socials are down in the description, so you can follow me all over the place. Of course, head over to my website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where you'll also find links to buy my latest novel, The Seven Royals Breaking the Stars. It's part 2 in the Seven Royals trilogy. It's a fantasy story, and I think you'll really like it. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.